For more here, CBS News Chief White House Correspondent Major Garrett joins me from the White House, albeit one not turned white with the snow that's hammering us. Major, let's begin with the comments from Judge Gorsuch about President Trump. Again, made in that meeting, but as we've learned, in a meeting that was also attended by, among others, White House advisors. Certainly unusual for a Supreme Court nominee to criticize the president who nominated him. What's the potential fallout here?
Well, I'm not sure there's great potential fallout because President Trump has given no indication he's going to pull Neil Gorsuch as his nominee to the Supreme Court, especially not after all the laudatory things he said about him in the East Room just a week ago. And for a justice to say it's disheartening to have a president criticize the political nature of the federal judiciary is not out of the ordinary. It's also not out of the ordinary for presidents to take issue with the direction or ultimate judgment of a federal court. That's something that's gone on in American political life for quite some time. So this does feel all new and sort of crackling with unprecedented adjectives around it, but in the main it is, at least within the boundaries of conversation about the federal judiciary, somewhat, I won't say typical, but we have heard it before. What's interesting about this is it comes in a very charged political environment where senators, Republican and Democrat, are taking stock of Neil Gorsuch and want to know what his approach to the law is and what his approach is to the executive branch, because if he becomes a Supreme Court Associate Justice, he will have to rule about actions taken by the executive branch and must show clear independence and fidelity to the law and not to the executive branch that nominated him in the first place. That's a key indicator of a judge's ability to carry out the responsibilities of the Supreme Court. So in that context, it probably helps.
Now, we saw the president attack Senator Blumenthal again on Twitter today. Senator Blumenthal has pointed out that he knows that Judge Gorsuch made similar comments to other of his colleagues in their meetings as well. Democratic Senator Chris Coons today actually said when he sits down with Judge Gorsuch, he is specifically going to ask him about the independence of the federal judiciary, of which you speak. And perhaps to be cynical here, as Senator Blumenthal has called on Judge Gorsuch to make these comments publicly and explicitly, there has been some suggestion by cynics among those in Washington that perhaps this is something of a ploy to separate Gorsuch to a degree from the White House.
I can't believe there are any cynics in Washington, D.C., Josh. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, I've stumped the commissioner.
But to the underlying point, there is an aspect of this that in a courtroom scenario might be called leading the witness, meaning Democratic senators saying, hey, there's some issues here. What do you think about them? I'm certainly troubled by them. Aren't you troubled by them, Judge Gorsuch? And in the course of the conversation, Judge Gorsuch might have expressed himself exactly as quoted. But guess what? We're going to have a confirmation hearing very soon. These questions will be asked in public, and there'll be an answer in public. One way or the other, the senators and the country can then take stock of it in full public view.
Major Garrett there at the White House. I know it's a busy day for you. We, as always, appreciate the time.
Sure.